why the captain took the controls right after touchdown, like within 2 seconds, because he already knew there was a truck going to cross over, and he should have initiated the go round whenever he knew the truck was going to cross. But he thought that probably the truck is going to cross before they land, or he would have avoided that. How much odds are there, to be hit by a truck or get slammed into a truck? So he was reluctant throughout this final approach. So for the newcomers, if you see this, please proceed with the video and see if I'm saying something valuable and different from the famous aviation experts do you see. I'm not an aviation expert. I have a very little flying career, but I'm a huge aviation enthusiast, like anyone. Anyone who comes up to any channel to hear the news definitely is an aviation enthusiast. So hear me out. I'm going to talk about LaGuardia. And my observation was a bit different from other, you could say, the aviation experts. And I'm going to back up that with the proof available on the ATC call recording, websites and the YouTube channels. For example, Vast Aviation. I'm going to take their video contents as to be shown here. So thanks a lot, Vast Aviation, for doing all the efforts for the aviation enthusiasts like us. So LaGuardia crash, the CRJ 900 crashed into a fire truck. Again, a very sad incident, and my heart goes out to the pilots for their families, and condolences to all of them. Why we talk about all these incidents, one is the curiosity, why this happened, how this happened, and how can we avoid that in the future. So that's the basic aim of discussing anything, because if there's no discussions, things can't move forward. So in my previous video, I blame the truck drivers as number one. And in row 2, it was the ATC guy. And again, he had too much workload on him. Not everyone is multitasker, but he tried his level best. And even the guilt at the end of this whole incident, he admitted that he messed it up. So ATC guy is on one side, then the truck driver on the other side, but no one has discussed the role of the pilots. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the role of the pilots. That what could have avoided this catastrophe. Pilots had a big hand in this one, so you cannot only blame the ATC guy or the truck drivers. Once I said that I not exonerate, who am I to exonerate anyone, but what I wanted to say is that why truck drivers would have done this mistake for not abiding, although they should have stopped. Once the light is green and there's no confirmation that the light is malfunctioning or not, they should have stopped it. There's no period about that. The full responsibility, bigger part, goes to the truck drivers. They did not stop there, despite being stopped at once they were given the clearance. So what I said, that there was another Southwest airline, I think 3988. Southwest 3988, in all the ATC calls on Vast Aviation has put up two videos on that. One is 5 minutes and 12 seconds long, and the other one is about 12 minutes long. The 12-minute longer video has the mention of the Southwestern 3988.
South 3988, cross 13 Romeo, left at Papa. South 3988, cross 13 Romeo, left at Papa.
We'll cross 13 on Romeo, left on Papa, Southwest 3988.
Now, why this is important? As I said initially, that because of the spacing between number 1 and number 2 aircraft on lineup, that was a problem. The spacing was too less. And this made the truck drivers confused, because once they saw an airplane landing, right away they asked for the clearance from the tower or from ATC.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower.
Truck 1 and Company.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower, requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, crossing 4 at Delta.
because in their assumption, the next aircraft is going to be at least a minute away or 2 minutes away, at least a minute away. In this case, it was also a minute away. So during all the whole conversation, you push the button, you talk to the ATC, then the ATC replies you back. So this process took about 12 seconds. And these 3 calls, when the ATC asks which truck wants to cross the runway, runway 4.
Who's the vehicle needed to cross the runway? Emergency vehicles calling on ground, or are you calling on tower?
The airline pilots are listening to this call. Jazz 464 is definitely listening. Pilot flying is flying the aircraft. And the captain's, the only job is to make sure everything is done according to the plan, landing plan. And he observes sitting there the calls as well. Now, who gives out the call? That depends. But both of them were listening to these conversations between ATC and the truck guys. And 1 minute and 3 seconds before the crash, they said that someone stepped on that.
At 1 minute and 3 seconds, an airport vehicle made a radio transmission to the tower, but that transmission was stepped on by another radio transmission, and the source of who made that transmission has yet to be identified.
Okay, makes sense. What about 40 seconds prior to the runway crossing call?
At 40 seconds, the LaGuardia Tower asked which vehicle needed to cross a runway.
Who's the vehicle needed to cross the runway?
Well, let me put this one at the end of the video. Let me confirm the Southwestern flight 3988 first with the truck drivers. When I said that this could have been the cause, and now it's confirmed from that video on Bass Aviation. 3988 was given to clear the runway 13, which is the perpendicular runway to runway 4, the other runway which is used for takeoffs. That was after 1 minute and 20 seconds, at least on the video, so we don't know how long it took. But if it took longer, that means the aircraft was closer to the accident point. You know what I mean? But let's say 1 minute and 20 seconds later, the call was given, clear runway 13 at Romeo and left at Papa.
South 3988, cross 13 at Romeo, left at Papa. South 3988, cross 13 at Romeo, left at Papa.
We'll cross 13 on Romeo, left on Papa, Southwest, 3988.
And if you see on the map, what I could find out is that the aircraft was still on the runway. And that's why, because of the load of the aircraft, because of the warning systems installed on that one, the lights did not turn from red to any other color, which would be okay for the truck to go, because it was still taxiing out. It was still on the runway. That means the number 2 in line, Jazz 464, the CRJ 9900, was too close to this aircraft, to number 1 aircraft. I couldn't find it on the radar screens 3988 when Jazz was going for landing. I couldn't see the blip on there. We could see how tiring, how difficult it is not difficult, I mean, they're professional for the ATC guys, but still, it's a lot of work to do. Even there's a single person holding, just talking, looking at the screen, that's a lot of work. So hats off, salute to those guys for doing the job, for making this safety, aviation safety, the first priority. Mishaps happen. So this proves that the aircraft was still on the runway and number 2 was in line. Now let's go to the pilot's reaction. Some people say they are heroes. Probably they are heroes. Although in previous video I've discussed that they should have, tried to evade the truck. They were knowing throughout the time that there's a runway incursion going on. A truck is going to pass runway 4. Now, first I thought that probably these calls were not standard. And once the truck 1 asked permission to cross 4 at Delta, they did not say the word runway 4.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower, requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 Company, cross 4 at Delta.
Then, the pilots in the cockpit would have gone, oh, runway 4. We're also landing on runway 4. So oh, a truck has given permission to pass. But it seems that it is confusing that they said track 1 seeking permission to cross 4 at Delta. But then when I reversed back on the calls, I found out that the similar terminology was used by Jazz 464 CRJ 900, the Air Canada airliner. Once they asked for joining not runway, they said ILS 4.
Jazz 646, LaGuardia.
OHU for GILS 4 for Jazz 646.
646, number 2, clear to land 4.
Close to land number 2 for Jazz 646.
So they use the same call standard to land on runway 4, and they did not use the word runway. So then I checked with other calls too, and hardly a few people said runway 4, but ATC, the airline pilots, and the ground staff, they were all using the word 4. And even some even said 422, because it's a common terminology, runway 04 on 0 on one side and 220 on the other side. So they knew when the ATC guy asked which truck wants to cross the runway, and runway 4. Truck 1 replied after 10 seconds, well, it's us, we want to cross. And then when they were cleared to cross the runway 4 at Delta, the pilots must have heard it. Okay, one from accident, minute, 3 seconds prior, they probably would have missed it. But what about the 56-second call prior to the accident? What about the 40-second call prior to the accident? What about the 20-second call when he asked Frontier to stop?
Frontier 4195 to stop there, please.
And I think he asked Frontier to stop because the Southwest 3988 was still on the runway. So he asked the Frontier to stop first. And then later on, he asked the truck 1 to stop. He did not stop. That's his fault again. And then if you hear the final call when he says, stop, 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 truck 1, stop, stop. And then the collision happens. You could hear the beep.
Sorry, truck 1. Stop, truck 1. Stop. Stop, truck 1. Stop.
That is the collision alarm beep on the radar screen of the ATC guy. When he said, truck 1, stop, 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 he could see it visually. We could see from the voice as well. If any linguistic experts observed that his voice, they would know that he was visual with the truck trying to cross and Jazz, the 464 is landing. So he said, hey, truck 1, stop, 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 while on the call. And once his radar started giving the beep, 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 that time he became kind of, his voice became fanatic, and then he said, hey, stop. And then that beep, accelerating beep becomes faster, and then the recording stopped. He called Jazz 464 again.
4195, we're staying here.
Delta 2603, go around, runway heading 2000. Jazz 646.
And all we could hear was a disrupted voice back.
Jazz 646.
Now, at that time, pilots were alive or not, how much communication was working because the front part of the nose was gone, so we don't know about that one, but yeah. There was an acknowledgement back, but no voice. And later on, he told Frontier too, because Frontier asked, and he said, okay, hold on. And Frontier said that, now we saw it.
Frontier 4195, you copy that?
Negative, we're holding here.
All right, there's an incident on the field.
Yeah, we saw it now.
Just stand by.
So they saw the accident while they were holding shots somewhere. We don't know where they were. So long story short, this also solves the mystery of why the captain took the controls right after touchdown, like within 2 seconds, because he already knew there was a truck going to cross over, and he should have initiated the go round whenever he knew the truck was going to cross. But he thought that probably the truck is going to cross before they land, or he would have avoided that. How much odds are there, to be hit by a truck or get slammed into a truck? So he was reluctant throughout this final approach. These are my 2 cents. I never blame the dead pilots. This is not my, I always stand for the pilots at least because I was an ex-pilot. But here it clearly shows that they would have initiated a go around a minute ago, 56 seconds ago, 40 seconds ago, 20 seconds ago, and even at least 10 seconds ago. So if any chimpanzee is saying that if they would have 12 to 15 seconds of time, they would have gone round, well, they had enough, ample lot of time. They could have swerved the aircraft left to right, but they did not. Frozen, froze, choked. So these are my 2 cents on this video. If you have any questions, do let me know. See you next time. Allah Hafiz.